meeting me on YouTube and on Facebook and wherever it is. We are live. We're live. I'm Nathan, and you're you. We're going to dive in. We're talking about creepy, spooky places, like travel destinations. And I just released a really awesome episode of You'll Die Trying, Season 3, Episode 188. I hope you check it out. It's with my dear friend, Kayla Diamond, producer, writer, artist, friend, mother, wife, Canadian, best neighbor ever. The power of social media. This is powerful, how we're able to connect with one another. I hope this finds you well, us together this evening. Thank you for being here, because you could be anywhere. We're talking about spooky places, and we're going to dive right on in. I Am Job. Name that movie. I Am Job. We're going to Lithuania. We're going to the Hill of Crosses. Now, you wouldn't think crosses are spooky per se, but if you look at images of this place in particular, it's pretty interesting. So this place is located 12 kilometers north of a small industrial city, and it's pronounced Shule. Doesn't look like that, but I did the thing where it's, anyway. It's the Lithuania National Pilgrimage Center. So upon this hill are many hundreds of thousands of crosses that represent Christian devotion and this memorial to Lithuanian national identity. And they don't really know where this actually came from, like where it started, who started it, how it started, but it was obviously something that, despite repeated attempts by communists in the 20th century to destroy the hill and remove these, they still come back in their thousands. It's pretty amazing. You can actually view a panoramic image of the hill online. You can Google it. So I find that very fascinating to look and see this, that in the 20th century, these communists come in, they wipe it out, and they say, you can't do this, you're not doing this, and then yet magically, poof, it appears again. Let me know in the chat. Have you seen these photos before? Have you seen this place or a place like that where they have this devotion in physical, visual form, where it's to the Christian faith? I don't know that that's so much spooky. I think the spooky aspect, obviously, they would call it spooky, is how did it magically just appear again or reappear? How did it start? There's this unknown, and that's why we talk about this stuff. People are like, what the hell? I'm Nathan, by the way. If you're like, who's this guy? Obviously, you see my name, but musician, mortician. And my single is number 15 at radio. It was 12, now it's 15, but it's still holding tight, and it's up spots at Billboard number 21. Last time, we keep celebrating these awesome milestones, 200,000 streams, 275,000 streams. I mean, it just keeps going up, and being on a bunch of really cool Spotify editorial playlists. The way that it works, this is all really new to me. I know that you have what are called curator playlists. That would be if I have a popular playlist for my favorite drive tunes, and over time, because I'm constantly updating it, it gets a lot of followers, and say somebody's like, yeah, I'll add Nathan Morris last time to that. Those are very beneficial ads on playlists because a bunch of people play it. Now, when Spotify has their editorial or their staff picks, and they put you on these large playlists with like 6 million followers, and you're getting 40 and 50 and 60,000 streams on that playlist alone, you see that's how it's very helpful. And I'm super excited about it, because people are then stumbling on the other songs, and yep, it's just a snowball effect. Thank you for supporting last time. I appreciate it very, very much. We're talking spooky places, spooky travel places. St. Louis Cemetery. One? Did I typo this? That's awesome. St. Louis Cemetery is the name of 3 Roman Catholic cemeteries in, actually, New Orleans. Not, I almost said Louisiana. Missouri. These graves are above ground vaults, by the way. So because of the water level, sea level, water table, burying in the ground is not obviously a smart thing to do because of so much water. Okay. The above ground tombs, which some say are required here because the groundwater levels make burial. Yeah, there we go. St. Louis Cemetery number 1 is the oldest and most famous. It has been in continuous use since its foundation, meaning start, not foundation, but above ground. Yeah. Due to crime risks, it is inadvisable for individual tourists to visit the cemetery on their own, but it can safely be visited with tour groups. Interesting. Did you know that it's very common to find people who walk or run cemetery grounds and the roads and paths? It's because there's probably more than likely turns and hills, and that's really good for runners and for your butts. But even people who live in close proximity to a cemetery, you think, oh, that's weird. Well, these people, they don't find it weird. It's in their backyard, and they just walk and meander on over, and then they get their speed stepping in. Yeah, let me know in the chat. Do you live near a cemetery? No? Yes? Do you find that weird? I think it's awesome to walk cemeteries, and I've talked about it before, for sure. The renowned voodoo priestess Marie Laveau is believed to be interred in the Glapian family crypt. And then there are other people like the French Creole playboy who brought the game of craps to the United States. Have you ever played craps? I never knew it was called craps, and then I remember I think it was grade school, middle school, one of the two where you find that funny. I'll be funny. Love it. That's like such elementary, but Kayla and I in the podcast episode 188, You'll Die Trying, check it out. We talk a little bit about God's greatest of gifts in comedy. You have to check it out. Oh yeah, we're talking about spooky travel places. I'm over here talking about farts and craps. Do you like the show Suits? Suits LA, it's a spinoff of Suits, 9 seasons, but the last half of 2023, 57 billion plus minutes of Suits were streamed on Netflix. And you know the theme song, we redid it. It's at radio nationwide. Call your station, text your station, tell them you want to hear Greenback Boogie, my version of, or also last time, whatever you want to tell them. Play something, guys. That would be great. Yeah, that'd be awesome. It's fun. It was fun to do it when I got the song and we got the idea, and Howie and JoJo, and they said, yeah, we're going to redo this song. Do you want to put your voice on it? I didn't think I would be able to do it. I didn't think that I had that. I didn't think I had that in me, I'm very pop, and I got to working on it and cutting the vocal, and I was like, yeah, that's fun. It was fun. It was so much fun to step. It was way outside of my comfort zone, but I think it turned out great. Check it out. Let me know what your thoughts are. Have you heard it? Let me know in the chat. Have you been to St. Louis Cemetery? Number 1. Always, whenever I wrote my mom a note, took over what's it called? Dadgummit. What's it called? Not a toaster, but you put it in, air fryer, whatever it's called. Yeah, so it looks like an Easy Bake Oven. So I wrote, thanks, don't touch my Easy Bake Oven. I'll be back to pick it up. And then I always sign notes like number 2. Like, boop, never mind. Stupid. Mary King's Close. Mary King's Close. Like close, not clothes. For years, this is... What? Oh. It was a misspelling. I was like, what the heck am I talking about? It's like an underground grave, pretty much. And, oh no. Notes. Hello? Sorry. We interrupt this program to say that I lost it. It's in Scotland, Edinburgh, Scotland. Tells of ghosts and murders and myths of plague victims, and they've actually been said to have been walled up to die, people who had the plague back in 1645. The plague struck this little community, and there's a tale that the local council decided to contain the plague by incarcerating the victims. Everyone who had the plague, they were incarcerated in this area. They bricked up, it is called a close. Why don't they just call it like a jail or whatever, for several years and left them to die? It is likely that this is why it was nicknamed Street of Sorrows. I would think so. I would think so. So if you're in Edinburgh, Scotland, and you want to visit this, allegedly you can. Apparently you can, not allegedly, you can. Have you been to Edinburgh, Scotland? I have been asked, like, where are 3 places you would like to go to experience the funerals, like the traditions, the way in which they celebrate? I was like, Scotland, Ireland, and I still have a third that I don't yet know where I'd like to go. Scotland, Ireland. Let me know where I should put on my list. like outside of the United States of America. Maybe I would love to go to Dios de Muertos, or is it Muertos? Day of the Dead. We are at Leap Castle in Ireland, and we're talking about spooky travel destinations. If you're just joining, I'm Nathan. People are like, why are you doing this? Why? I think that's why. That's it. Because people ask why. I love trying to figure out why. I love the unknown. I love the macabre. I love learning about history and the stories that are passed down, the paranormal, the unexpected, the unexplained. You get it. Crime podcasts, I love. And that's why we talk about this kind of stuff. Other than that, we talk about music and what did I say? I Am Job. I didn't see if anyone wrote in the chat what that's from. Screw. Okay. The Irish Castle is about 4 miles north of a larger town. It was built in 1250. And in 1659, it became into ownership. The Darby family began ownership of. Many people were imprisoned and executed in said castle, of course. Not far from here, workers discovered a dungeon where people were locked away and forgotten about. Pretty common theme here. You got Scotland, people just walled up and die from plagues, and then you have this dungeon here. Took them 3 cartloads to carry out all the human bones at the bottom of this dungeon whenever they finally went to clean it out. A report indicates that these workmen also found a pocket watch dated to the 1840s. It's not known whether or not it was still in use in the 1840s, or if maybe someone was just looking around, kind of like what we probably would go and do, and maybe drop the pocket watch. But have you been to Ireland, or this castle first, but Ireland? Have you been there? Kiss me, I'm Irish. We almost have St. Paddy's Day coming up. And it's really embarrassing to say that a lot of these Irish words were very difficult for me to pronounce. How dare me not honor my heritage. But what language? What's a language that the ancient, not ancient? Yeah. Ancient Irish. That doesn't sound right. I guess if something's old, it's ancient, right? What did they speak? Guys, give me a break. It's Tuesday night. Just calm. Halt. Chateau de something in France. We're talking spooky travel destinations. We've talked about the crosses, which crosses aren't spooky in and of themselves. It's just the act of how they constantly are able to reappear even after being wiped out, all the way to this chateau. I wonder if this is no, it's definitely not an Airbnb. It is absolutely not. So this is 1435. This person retired from military life, dabbled in the occult, and depleted his wealth by staging an extravagant theatrical spectacle in this area, by the way, or in this chateau. Oh, and then in 1432 and 1433, the first child murder occurred and was followed by similar crimes within the chateau. The victims were numbered allegedly in the hundreds. After sexually assaulting the boys that this military man kidnapped, he would take their lives and would absolutely defile their bodies. The court transcripts from his trial state, these are quotes, so I'm going to read this verbatim. The court's quotes, not the military marshal. He was a marshal of France. Okay. Gilles de, I can't pronounce his last name, Rais, Reyes. From 1404 to 1440, he was a knight, just so you know. So like he retired from being the Marshal of France, military in arms. That's how we got to this point. I probably should have kind of given a little backstory on that. But the court documents stated when the said children were dead, he kissed them and those who had the most handsome limbs and heads. I'm not going to read that part because I just don't want to. So he would absolutely, essentially, like, perform autopsy type stuff. Yeah. Wow, this is insane. He was executed by hanging on October the 26th of 1440. He was actually the inspiration behind the tale of Bluebeard, and every single one of his crimes took place in this chateau or castle. It's in ruins today, but people go and visit it. It's obviously a spooky travel destination. Would you go? The victims were placed in walls, so maybe there's still some that have not been found. Well, let me know in the chat. Would that even sound like something that you would want to visit? Obviously, not something that you would. I have a pain in my side. What does that mean? Does that mean somebody's thinking about me? Ow. Does that mean that just because you go there, does that mean that you're not? No. I mean, I think it's interesting because it's intriguing. Why do people do what they do? Why does it get to that? I ask that about a lot of things, especially, there's, if you've been following any of the stuff within regard to the funeral profession in Colorado, you have all of these instances. 131 loved ones were found just stowed away in this funeral home. There was another a few years ago where a mother and daughter were selling body parts in an illegal operation, just under the guise of a funeral home. They weren't like a body donation of any kind. It was really bad. And then now you have that one young man who was arrested last week, I believe, or the week before, for similar things. And so now finally, because in the 1980s they took out all oversight. Like, you don't have to be licensed funeral director. You don't have to be licensed in any way. You could go to Colorado right now, build some pole barn, get the proper permits for building, and then say, hey, I'm an embalmer, and do your best. Really, there's no licensure requirements. So they're starting to work on that. But why did I get on that? I don't know. Anyway, hey, we're going back to more spooky travel destinations, and we're going to this castle in Romania. Have you been to Romania? Like, that feels like, I don't even know where Romania is. Geographically speaking, like, I'm having a brain fart. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm smelling burnt toast. I'm stroking out. I'm having a stroke, everyone. But I do know where New York City is. New York City! I'm playing New York City April 18th. I'll be in Jacksonville, Florida on May the 3rd. May the 3rd be with you. And then I will be heading toward playing Louisiana, Shreveport, Louisiana. And where else am I playing? All that will be available at nathanmorrismusic.com/tour. Yeah, you can check out the tour dates there. They're getting updated the moment that they officially book. It's very stressful. I'm not even doing it. I just watch it. It's like the date comes in and they're like, oh, we need to revise it. Oh, we need to know. Ooh, All right. Bran Castle is a tourist attraction, and there is no known evidence that Vlad, the Dracula. I'm doing a series on Dracula. That's why I was like, Vlad the Third. Not the second. That was his dad. Vlad's real home was somewhere else. It was built in the 13th century, this castle, and the first Romanian rulers in the south region of Romania lived there. So the 14th century, this place was the main citadel of the rulers, which is interesting. The 15th century, realizing the potential for a castle perched high on a steep precipice, Vlad III, the Impaler, repaired and consolidated the structure, making it one of his main fortresses. Yes, after his death, Vlad's, who's known as Dracula, who there are stories of some very crazy things, the castle fell to ruin, but it is still standing and is available. To reach the castle, you have to climb 1,500 steps. It's one of the most haunted places in the world, allegedly, based upon of what like Vlad III brought to it. I mean, some of the things that he would do to people are just absolutely absurd. Let me know in the chat if you have seen any of the Dracula series that I've done, but know the real stories about Vlad the Impaler and how he would lure victims to his castles under the guise of let's have a meal together. Like his whole MO was to avenge his father's death because his father had soldiers turn on him. He was a leader of sorts, and the soldiers turned on him and betrayed him and killed him. So Vlad III found out who every single one of the soldiers, people were that were tied to the death of his father, and just wreaked havoc. Pretty interesting. Let me know in the chat if you are familiar with some of those stories. There are some catacombs in Palermo, Italy. This is a number 3 on the list. We have 3 more to go. Number 4 on the list then of spooky travel destinations in Italy. And these catacombs are burial catacombs, of course, in Sicily. And they provide a somewhat macabre tourist attraction. In 1599, monks at the monastery mummified recently dead brothers, Silvestro of Gubbio, and then they placed this guy in particular, this monk, in the catacombs. It's always monks. I always joke about that because it is. The bodies were dehydrated on the racks of ceramic pipes. Wow. They were preserved with everyday clothing and sometimes with ropes they had worn as a penance. Interesting. In the following centuries, it became a status symbol to be entombed. Of course, we see that across like Egypt and other places, even today, really. If you have a private estate, that is a sense of entombment. It's a sense of wealth. Whenever you have, of course, a public or community mausoleum, that is entombment as well, but it's not so much showing this sense of nobility from a financial standpoint, like it is if you have, hey, look at my huge, massive mausoleum that's just mine. So these were closed in 1880, the catacombs, but the tourists, you can still visit. The last burials are from the 1920s, and one of the last was Rosalia Lombardo, was 2 years old, and the body is still remarkably intact, preserved with a procedure that was lost for decades, but recently rediscovered. So you could go into these catacombs. It's not, and they're on these racks, pipe racks. I don't really know what, I think of a pipe, I think of like a metal pipe, but obviously that's not what this is. And you can apparently still see this little 2-year-old preserved, and other monks who are maybe in different forms of decomposition and mummification. And let me know in the chat, would you go in through there? I mean, like it's like one of those train wrecks you just kind of want to look at. Let me know in the chat. Wow, guys, what's happening here to this channel? Yeah, thanks for being here. Subscribe to me on YouTube, whether it's Nathan Morris Music and whether you're seeing me here on Facebook or whatever. But subscribe on YouTube, where exclusive content releases often. Be sure to click the bell to be notified. And I'm grateful for all the support on all the channels. My intention is always to just meet you where you are, whether it's through the podcast, the music, which I'm so passionate about. I'm grateful. I'm grateful for you being here. I really am. There's a small island in Venice, and this is where they would sometimes ship these people that were plague victims. A lot of people with plagues back then. My gosh. It's like, you're sick. Let's wall you up. And why didn't they just, I guess they didn't want, I don't know. I don't know why they wouldn't just have offed them. Like, off with their heads. I'm not saying I encourage that, but I mean, they're going to wall them up and starve them and say, hey, we're going to ship you away and let you die on your own. They know they're suffering. Why don't you just end their suffering altogether? I don't know. There were 3 different plagues during the Middle Ages that this island's like, yeah, let's just ship them away. The island is exclusively known for death. In addition to housing dying plague victims, it was used as a leper colony. Just when you think it couldn't get any worse, leprosy is horribly contagious, and you kind of just rot exteriorly. You just kind of fall apart. And Mother Teresa Jesus, in the Bible it talks about, I don't know, I don't think I would be strong enough to pray with, sit with, eat with the lepers. I think it's a beautiful gift. Obviously here, they're just like, go over there and live and be. In 1922, A mental hospital was built on the island. Oh, okay, that's great. One of the doctors working was attacked by the insane patients that then threw him off the top of this hospital tower. The hospital ruins remain. Wow, 160,000 people died on this small island. It's said that part of the island's core consists of a layer of human remains. Wow. Fishermen actually avoid the island because they actually have pulled up body parts. It's not uncommon. If you want to visit, you have to become friendly with the locals who actually will keep vineyards there because public access is absolutely forbidden. So they won't go there except to just grow grapes, which is disgusting to think about. Let me know in the chat your thoughts on that. I love wine, but knowing if it came from this place where leprosy and plagues, and I think of everything in visual, so it like as natural decomposition, it's in the dirt, and it's like, let's grow these beautiful green, luscious grapes, or whatever color grapes I'm a red wine guy, so no thanks. There's a cemetery in my hometown next to an orchard, which has like apple trees and stuff, and I think about how close proximity to the cemetery. And let me know in the chat, would you be fine to drink some wine knowing, I'm sure there's nothing that could happen, but knowing that it's just growing on these grounds? I would maybe go to this island, by the way, which is the first time I feel like I've said that. Would you go? Hugo? Oh, this is, yeah, this place is, I think this is the one. Nope. No, it's not. That's so funny. We're talking about creepy travel destinations, and we're at Aokigahara, Japan. Aokigahara? Where's my cousin when I need her? It's known as the Sea of Trees. It's a forest at the base of Mount Fuji in Japan. And there are trails, there are tons of scattered bones and incomplete skeletons here. Since the 1950s, more than 500 people have lost their lives, mostly by taking their own lives, with approximately 30 counted yearly. In 2002, 78 bodies were found within the forest, replacing the previous record of 73 in 1998. So this is the suicide forest, is what it's also known as. The high rate of suicide has led officials to place signs in the forest to urge those who have gone there to take their lives to seek help and not do so. For a variety of reasons, it's just still a place that people go to take their lives, and it's very, very sad that that's become this place. I'm not a therapist or a psychologist or licensed in any way to get to the why of that, but people who have, depression, mental illness, and maybe have felt like they've gotten to that point, maybe this place being promoted as such might have something to do with drawing so many people. I don't know. Have you heard of this place where people go and allegedly are just drawn to take their lives? Obviously, it's not allegedly. 73, 72 a year. That's awful. That's so awful. I'm a huge advocate for mental health awareness. It's so important. Ask how people are, and when you ask, be ready and willing to hear an honest response, and you feel safe enough to answer honestly too, and ask for help if you need it. Just think it's important. Therapy's super important. Don't ever get to that point. That's why I always say you're loved far more than you could ever know, because I might be the only one that says that today. You are. You're loved. So know that. And last but not least, if I can find it, because apparently I just clicked something. We're talking about spooky travel destinations, and I am on the last one, but I can't find it. Here we are. We're at the European ossuaries. Yeah. I love it. Thanks for being here tonight. I appreciate it because time is unreplenishable. You could be anywhere and you're choosing to hang out with me. So thank you for that. April 18th, I'm in New York City. We'd love for you to be there somewhere nowhere. We are at, forget the hotel. I need to figure out the hotel that it's at the very top of. It's this new venue. It's amazing. It's a rooftop venue. And I'm really looking forward to it. Meet and greet at 6 o'clock. Show starts at 7, 21 and over. It is free. May 3rd, Jacksonville, Florida, and dates are added all the time. And also, thanks for streaming last time and all my music. So I want you to know that. So this is a place that serves as a final resting place with tons and tons and tons of skeleton and human remains. They are frequently used, the ossuaries, where burial spaces are scarce, and all over Europe they can be found. And fortunately, for those who love, obviously, the macabre, they visit it. And they are underneath the streets of Paris. Interestingly enough, the remains of over 4,000 friars can be viewed here. Some of the skeletons are fully intact and draped with Franciscan habits. And the most part, though, individual bones are used to create elaborate ornamental designs. And that's what makes this spooky place. It's like all these designs are made from, it's like decorating a Christmas tree with ornaments, but there's not a Christmas tree and these aren't ornaments. These are loved ones' remains. Yeah. Let me know in the chat if you would visit these. It's like the underbelly of Italy. I think I would like to, because like the History Channel did a show about this world of underground worlds, and I just find that so fascinating. I mean, these are 10 spooky places that people travel, that most of which I would not travel, except the island. I would go there. And I also think that we're a bunch of goofy weirdos, and my phone's been going off nonstop, and I get distracted. I hold it. I don't know why. The funeral director in you that's been on call for forever, that's the why. And I have to be very intentional about leaving it. It's not so much because I'm like a 13-year-old girl that's addicted to it. It's almost like it was attached to my hip, and the sense of work for death calls. But now it's just, I need to just throw it. I am glad you've been here with me tonight. You can get merch right this very second and use the code that is in the description for 20% off while supplies last. I'm sending these records. I have literally, I think, like 15 left. So get them while they're available. This is the record that started it all. I am very proud of this project. And it's amazing how when you write a song and it takes on a new meaning. And I wrote a lot of these songs in 2007. 2007. I was a child, and here I am, a grown man, and these songs have taken on a new meaning. I'm very proud of that project, and I always knew that I would be doing what I'm doing. I just didn't know what it would look like, and here we are. And I think you need to find what you love and just be super passionate about it, and not listen to the noise out there. You know, if you're showing up and you're doing something that you genuinely believe in, that's all that matters. So I want you to know that. I appreciate you being here with me tonight. Let me know in the comments in the chat if you've been to any of those places, and we'll circle back. We've always, we've always been told you should do this, you should do that, in the sense of, oh, go to law school, or go be a nurse, or go be like this safe thing, because we've always been told about abiding to this rule book. Well, there wasn't a rule book before there was a rule book. So write your own rules. And it's okay if everything that you do is a little unconventional, because you're pretty damn awesome. All right. We'll see you soon. We'll talk to you soon. Much love to you. So what if I'm drinking coffee?